Before working with Fusion Lets, what was your biggest worry as a landlord?
I think the day-to-day stuff, if any issue comes, and then talk to the calls come anytime, anywhere. So if those type of things been taken care by Fusion and other things, that would help.
Or had you heard about guaranteed rent before speaking to Fusion Lets?
So this was I first time hear from one of my mutual friend who was using your services, and then he had a relatively good experience, and he recommended if I would like to consider that, and I just consider and speak to, and it worked out well so far.
Were you skeptical at first?
So as I said, I never heard that before. I never had an experience before, or not surrounding any people who I was considering as a friends having these properties, and they doing like renting and stuff. I never had an experience. So I was skeptical for sure. I wouldn't say no. And I was thinking of which company it is this real company? These days, a lot of frauds and things like happening. So that was my real concern compared to the nitty-gritty of it, whether I'm gonna get the rent or not, or things like that, or other things, non-assured, assured. I didn't know those technical terms before, but that I mean, Suleiman helped me to understand, go through those processes and other things. But that was my biggest concern. That is it really a company? Will I get my rent on time, or am I getting into something which I get trapped and can't come out, and it's unknown basically. So you're bound to have those questions and skeptical about it. So
When Fusion Lets got in contact, did you then look into other guaranteed rent companies?
no, I didn't go for the other companies, but I tried to just basic stuff checks, which is, I mean, I speak to, as I said, one of my mutual friend, and I asked my concern, shared those concerns with him, and asked him whether he can help. So he replied, I asked Suleiman, your agent. He tried to give me this. I read through your contract, gone through it line by line, few due intelligence from there is open rent. There are few lots of what you call as a help available around on the line, and use my own judgment about it. And I had few bad experience. Wasn't by guaranteed like company like you, but there are a few agents, if you like, the estate agents. They do work in between landlords and the benefit peoples, and like directly with council rather than benefit people. So that was a very bad experience. That also called as a guaranteed rent, but it had a catches in there, like half of them paid by them and top of by government, and there is a process. So you will get paid, but you don't know. So approval of those. So those type of concern, I thought in this particular setup of contract with Fusion, I don't see that problem coming because of the way it was set up. So procedural problems. So a few questions like that was just gone like that. But yeah, I still had a few months that skeptical whether it's the things coming. But yeah, that was yes.
What gave you confidence that your rent would actually be paid every month? Was it your friend that helped?
Correct. So he had a positive experience. He was 1 year plus, and he never had an issue of contracting. So that gave me a little boost. Would allow me to go and consider to go on. I still had a concerns, to be honest, until you see the money for a few months consistently. Which so far it's more than 5 months, and I'm getting it on time. So yes, it was responsive, and those responsive, making my concerns heard, answer them as they could honestly, and that type of thing build my confidence up. Yes.
Did anything about the contract or onboarding surprise you?
Some of them are very straightforward. That's what it surprised me. So sometimes I felt it. Is it really good to be? Is it too good to be true. You know what I
Mm,
mean? So that type of thing. So it's very simple. That surprised me. And you understand, I mean, all the contract is not that big contract as well. So yeah, that type of thing surprised me, but that gave me a little concern as well. Again, that adds up a concern that really is it really something that simple?
mhm,
Can that be that simple and things like that? But it was covered by different clauses,
mhm.
which contract and technical, which is given by the government and things. So I think you might guys have a chosen to not include them here, but references kind of things. But yeah, positive surprise is that it's simple and easy to go through. And Suleiman, of course, helped me whenever I had a question. So yes.
How did you feel about handing over your property initially?
Uh, To be fair, I've been myself into the renting property a few times, and I had couple of rent tenants experience as well. So I was a little worried until it get started and get going, to be honest. But yeah, it was a procedural, simple as such. So a couple of time I had to visit with Suleiman and I think Usman, who was actually will be looking after the what you call the inventory and stuff like
Mhm.
that.
Property
So
management side of things, yeah.
yeah, so it wasn't bad. Yes, no, it was okay.
Do you feel more protected than with a normal deposit?
I would say yes. Still, it's a long way to go. I mean, it's a first experience and things like that, but so far, excuse me, you
Okay.
can say that yes, I've been getting the rent on time and things like that. So yeah, that's what you need.
How important was it for you to know you could get the property back if needed?
Well, that is the question remains
Mhm,
because it's clear
mhm,
when you read the contract and stuff like that, but behind the scene experience,
mhm,
uh, I think you can do it
mhm,
as long as Fusion and me work up something like that and talk about it openly and
mhm,
things like that. So I'm fairly confident on that sense that if we talk openly, if you cannot do it or I cannot do it or can do it, then I think work out. But if anything legally comes up which you don't have in control and I don't have in control, I don't know. So I could be completely wrong, but so to answer your specific questions, I have a little worry about it, but at the same time, I think it's so true for all the contracts when you have it.
Have you had any complaints or issues with neighbours?
Not that I heard so far, no.
How does Fusion Let's compare to your previous experiences?
Yeah, so the process is good, and Suleiman was every time available to answer my all queries and stuff like that. So Fusion in that sense, is it a fusion or is it a particular agent or whatever? But the first contact for me was Suleiman. So I always had a very prompt response, whether it is what I want to hear or whether I don't want to hear. But at least that
mhm,
was a good the prompt response, and that helped in the process and get rid of some of the worries. Make it faster and things like that. So yeah, it was so far so good, to be honest.
Has Fusion Let's delivered what they promised?
Yet to experience, I would say. And yeah, so there are a few things which I'm still not sure whether this falls in my responsibility or Fusion's responsibility. For example, small things, something happens in the house and the tenant calls Fusion and then comes to me. So there are a couple of occasions, few bigger things that I had to do. That was clear. But I think there are a few things that I'm still not sure. But sometimes, so I got the answer what I needed from the fusion as a theory.
mhm,
But in real terms, when practically something happens, which I had bigger issues earlier, And that was another reason I considered fusion, that at least those type of worries, which is a very small, minor, tenants can do it or somebody else can do it. And I think I was given a little comfort there as well by fusion, that this we will be doing it. You know, we won't be contacting you and things like that. That experience yet to be tested.
How has working with Fusion Let's changed your day-to-day life as a landlord?
Well, I think as I said, it's the same thing. When theory, yes, it gives me a little comfort. As I said, small things bothers always landlord, and that's why you have a fusion. Well, that's the a good reason fusion and not to go with my normal routine, which is open rent I was doing. And then, but theory, yes, should help me and give me more little comfort, but yet to be tested.
What do you value most about working with Fusion Let's?
I think it's the prompt response and the coordination between tenant and landlord is quite good.
Would you recommend Fusion Let's to another landlord, and why?
Well, to be fair, with this all concerns and something, I already have done few already, and they
Very
all have considered as well. I don't know where they've gone, how far they've gone for, but I already have, because I see some benefits. It's all about and there are issues as well with this non-standard. You get a less choice for the bank giving I mean options for the mortgages, because some of the this is our, so that's the one thing which I think it's a little I had an issue with. I didn't know when I joined the contract and that I had to go with the remortgage, and then I got the approval and everything. I gone so far, and then they said, "Hey, this is non-assured one, and hence we can't consider this. It's not in falling in our qualifying thing." So I had a less options to choose. That's the one downside for it. But otherwise, yeah, it was okay.
What would you say to a landlord who's on the fence right now?
Well, as I said, I mean, I had a so far good experience. Whatever I had a concerns, you guys have, Fusion has answered those questions. So I don't have other companies' experience at all. So I mean, it's a tested like by me and one of my friend who already recommended me. So two of the testimony there. So other one, if he goes, other company, I don't know whether we have a testimony or not. So I would go with the testimonial one rather than the completely new one, if it is a guaranteed one. Agent one, as I said, there are a few pros and cons. Remortgage, mortgage, one of the biggest one. Here you don't lose the fees and things like that, so less complicated. Other one, I think, would say a little extra complicated, I have to say. And previous experience, I think the other agent has a more complex way of working when comes the tenant gives you issues, that this is the issue, that is the issue. So those are good points that Fusion has. So I think that's the reason I would recommend Fusion to other companies compared to in opposed to the normal agent or other companies. So
If Fusion Let's stopped tomorrow, what would you miss most?
I think the monthly guarantee comes, and I think the day to day, I don't know how many talks that they're having with the tenants. I don't know. So is that I hope that there is some already, and it's not coming to me. So that hassle-free little thing, it's a little buffer in between always helps.
Has this made you more likely to keep or grow your portfolio?
Yes, no, I think if this is the way it goes and gives the guaranteed rent without lots of hassles, and I build enough confident about it, which is like a company is there and is gonna stay there and things like that, I think it does help to consider more property portfolio increasing. and also to keep it as it is, because nowadays lots of people are trying to sell it because of this hassles, and you have to look for the people and worry about whether they're going to give you the rent or not, and lots of other things which you are taking it away by giving us a guaranteed rent and things like that. So yes, that boost up.
If you were to take on more properties, would you consider fusion lets?
I would consider Fusion this type of setup at least for sure. Yes, whether you guys can cover the area or not, I don't know. But yeah, it's so many ifs and buts there. But yeah, I would certainly consider it.